And you, this guy, you're the one who told the press. You wrote an email to the editor. I saw it. This guy's the snitch. He's the snitch. So that's it. Check it out.
We're gonna believe that guy?
What's going on, guys? Matthew back again, this time for another political video. Apparently J.D. Vance has turned on Trump, or is it just another fake news story to cause division in the Trump administration? Let's get into it.
Mole, 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 mole.
Okay, so we have here from the Daily Mail. The title is, J.D. Vance split with Trump in secret signal war chat. Quote, I think we are making a mistake. And I've kind of skimmed through this earlier. It seems like there was someone speaking on behalf of J.D. Vance, but let's get into it and see what we see here. Vice President J.D. Vance advised against a military strike in Yemen, according to a secret signal chat about the proposed operation with President Donald Trump's national security team. Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, revealed that Trump's national security team added him to the secret chat and published details of the conversation on Monday. Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, revealed that Trump's national security team added him to the secret chat. So they would have to get in serious trouble over that, right? Adding someone who isn't authorized to a secret chat about national security. And then he published the details. And who would it be on Trump's national security team that added him? In the conversation, the user identified as J.D. Vance wrote that Andy Baker for VP was messaging for the vice president. So the user identified as J.D. Vance wrote that Andy Baker for VP was messaging for the vice president. I guess like on behalf of the vice president. What? Quote, team, I am out for the day doing an economic event in Michigan. But I think we are making a mistake, the Vance user stated to the group that included National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Secretary of State Mark Rubio, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. There's a real risk that the public doesn't understand this or why it's necessary. The strongest reason to do this, as POTUS said, to send a message, the Vance user continued. The military strike against the, I think it's pronounced Houthis, or I'm not really sure. I'm going to say Houthis. I don't like Houthis. Houthis. The military strike against the Houthis, the team argued, was necessary to keep shipping lanes open on the Red Sea as the insurgents were targeting ships. Vance's account expressed concerns about the timing of the proposed operation, warning of oil prices spiking as a result. I'm not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now, he wrote. There's a further risk that we see a moderate to severe spike in oil prices. So then it just becomes a conversation between, or a debate between the oil prices or the shipping lanes. Which one's more important? The Vance user said that he would remain publicly silent about his concerns, but expressed them to the team. I am willing to support the consensus of the team and keep these concerns to myself, but there's a strong argument for delaying this a month, doing the messaging work on why this matters, seeing where the economy is, etc. Vance's communications director, William Martin, said the vice president remained aligned with Trump's decision, but wanted to make sure he was properly briefed by his advisors. The vice president's first priority is always making sure that the president's advisors are adequately briefing him on the substance of their internal deliberations. Vice President Vance unequivocally supports this administration's foreign policy. The president and the vice president have had subsequent conversations about this matter and are in complete agreement. Okay. In the chat, the Hegseth user said he understood Vance's concerns and urged him to raise them with the president, but argued for immediate action. So what confuses me is the way they say user, the Hegseth user, or the J.D. Vance user. I guess these are just people speaking on behalf of Hegseth and J.D. Vance. I don't understand why Hegseth and J.D. Vance cannot actually be talking to each other. We are prepared to execute, and if I had final go or no-go vote, I believe we should. The Waltz user also said the United States would have to act and reminded Vance that, per the president's request, we're working with DoD and state to determine how to compile the costs associated and levy them on the Europeans. If you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again, the Vance user replied. The SM user, I don't know what SM is, identified in the article as Trump's advisor Steve Miller, reminded the group about the president's goal. And so here's an actual image of this chat. JD Vance, at Pete Hegseth, if you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. Let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. And if there are things that we can do up front to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. Pete Hegseth, VP, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. But Mike is correct. We are the only ones on the planet on our side of the ledger who can do this. Nobody else even close. Question is timing. I feel like now is as good a time as any, given POTUS directive to reopen shipping lanes. I think we should go, but POTUS still retains 24 hours of decision space. So Trump gets 24 hours to ultimately decide. And this will be Steve Miller here. As I heard it, the president was clear, green light, but we soon make clear to Egypt. I guess that's supposed to be clear. We soon make clear to Egypt and Europe that we expect in return. We also need to figure out how to enforce such a requirement. Okay, so e.g., if Europe doesn't repay, then what? If the U.S. successfully restores freedom of navigation at great cost, there needs to be some further economic gain extracted in return. So basically, it seems like we would be opening these shipping lanes for Europe, and it would cost us higher prices in oil. And if we're going to do this for Europe, we need to get something out of it. And Pete Hegseth agrees with that. So, I mean, I agree with that as well. I just don't understand. I thought we would be opening these shipping lanes for us. Let's keep reading and see what they say. As I heard it, the president, as I heard it, the president was clear, green light, but we soon made clear to Egypt and Europe that we expect in return. Trump ultimately ordered the strikes against the Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen over the weekend from his club at Mar-a-Lago in a successful mission. The president on Monday told reporters at the White House he hadn't seen the Atlantic story revealing the details of the chat. I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of the Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. So all in all, it seems like this is just a story that was made to sow more division. And it doesn't even feel like there's really division here. And Trump's not going to do anything without first having, without first knowing that he's going to get something in return. So this kind of feels like a non-story, something they're just kind of making up or not making up, something they're reporting just to try to sow division, that the administration doesn't really know what it's doing, things of that nature. Anyway, guys, that's the video for this topic. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything I'm missing, if there's anything you would agree with or disagree with. Like I said, it just feels like something that they're using to kind of try to sow division in the administration. I would very much like to know how this person from the Atlantic got in on that conversation and who let them in. I'm sure they have a way of figuring out who that mole was, but that person definitely needs to be fired and not be a part of this administration any longer. But let me know if I missed anything in the comments below. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time. Take it easy.